My ex-wife and I are the parents of a daughter, nearly adult, and a teen son. We share custody of our kids 50-50 and have been divorced for 13 years. Neither of us pays child support because we have equal time with the kids, and we split the cost of everything: school, medical, dental, and extracurriculars. I opened up bank accounts for my kids when each was born, and I've saved from the get-go, but around 8 or so years ago, I came into some money because I was injured at work, and I put that money into their accounts. Also, a relative died 4 years ago, and I was given a sum of money that I also put into their accounts. So the money I save for them will help them tremendously in their futures, whether they go to college or not. My ex-wife remarried several years ago. Her stepdaughter's a teen. She's got a nephew of her husband's that they're raising, who's a young teen, and she has 2 kids, a young child and a kindergartner, with her husband. My ex-wife wanted to talk to me about college for our kids and told me that she and her husband had told all of their kids that community college would be the most affordable option for them and that they would get as much help as possible, but a more expensive school would be tough on them. I told her that our kids would have that option if they wanted it because I saved them a healthy amount. She asked me why I never told her sooner, and I told her because I was taking care of our children and it wasn't something she needed to know. A few days after this talk, she called me and alongside her husband said that they would like me to pay child support for our kids so that they can save more money for their other children's futures. I told her I was not going to pay child support just so she could support the other children in our home. Her husband told me I could always offer to split the money between all of the children. I told him I was not paying for his kids to go to college. I told them I only had a responsibility to my children. I told them that if they wanted to save more money, I would happily take the kids more if they, my kids, wanted to spend more time at home with me. My ex-wife called me cruel and said that keeping 50-50 and paying money so our kids' siblings can go to college should be a no-brainer for me. I told her the day I have an obligation to help her support her entire household is a day in another universe where we never broke up. But we did, and she has to accept that she's equally responsible for our kids as me. They both told me I was an idiot, and even though I feel like I'm crazy for asking, I must ask, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. 50-50 means no child support. What a laughable suggestion on their part. They're trying to sucker you into paying for their kids. Don't budge. Wait, why should you be paying for their kids? It makes sense that you've planned for your children's futures. Imagine if the roles were reversed and you asked her for such a favor. I don't think she would ever agree to such a scenario. Their audacity. Agreed, they're absolute jokes. Are the funds in your kid's name? If so, change it ASAP, because first, they tried to sucker you into paying up. Next, targets are your kids that they'll try to convince them to share with their step-siblings. Change it ASAP, or they'll try to guilt trip them. I used to be a banker and have seen firsthand how people act when it comes to money. It's not outside the realm of possibility that a mom would take her kids to the bank and drain the accounts. Yeah, it's only a no-brainer for them, not for OP and his kids. I'm shocked her husband would even bring it up. How embarrassing. The fact that you already have money for your kids' college means your ex doesn't have to put money towards it, even though she should, hence saving money for her other kids. Yeah, you're not crazy. She's got some nerve, and her husband even more so by asking money for their own kids. Some people, I swear. OP, call a lawyer. 50-50 doesn't automatically mean no child support is owed. If there's a big disparity in your incomes, if she stayed home to raise your kids for a couple of years and her career took a long-term hit, then it's quite possible you should have been paying some kind of child support, and she just hasn't held you to it before. Suppose she can show that in court, you may be ordered to pay anyway and possibly back support for the last 13 years. So rather than judge you as an idiot or not, I think you should consider whether your ex would succeed in legal proceedings over this. And if the odds are high, maybe paying child support voluntarily for the next 3 years is the cheaper option. I co-parent with my ex, and we're not on great terms, but we're civil. I still take my children to his parents' house, so they can maintain a bond with them. He doesn't see his parents often as he lives further away. I'm a nurse and I do night shifts 3 times a week from 7 p.m. to 11 a.m., Monday through Wednesday. So from Wednesday to Saturday, I'll have my little one, elementary school female, and then Sunday, she'll go to her dad's. 2 separate arguments led up to this one, so I'll try and keep it brief. First, my daughter loves American Girl dolls. I've been buying them for her since she was 5. We're in the UK, but I've yet to find something she likes as much. Problem is, my ex's partner daughter likes them too. They just can't afford them. This year, I bought 1 doll plus a set, and it was like $400. So they claim I'm doing that to make a rift. I'm not. They recently had a baby, and my ex's partner was sick, so he was looking after the baby. So on Tuesday around 12:30, I'd been asleep like an hour. They phoned and texted, asking if I'd pick up my daughter. I refused, and they were still texting me that night, asking, which I couldn't even see. When I picked my daughter up, my ex's partner essentially said, maybe instead of spoiling my daughter, I could be a mother instead of part-time. I said to her, maybe if she worked, her daughter wouldn't try and steal my daughter's Nintendo Switch or dolls. I got a text from my in-laws asking if I'd visit. I said maybe if I'm not too busy being a part-time mother. They asked and I explained. Apparently they got upset with my ex and it caused issues with them. And he asked why we can't just be civil for the children. But he says his partner has a point since Wednesday. I only get her at 4 p.m. But she didn't mean it. She's just sick and they recently had a baby. Am I the idiot? Probably irrelevant how much I spent on the doll, but my ex did decide to Google it when I told him. So as far as I see it, they wouldn't have otherwise known. Not the idiot. You are not a part-time mom. You're following the current parenting plan. You happen to have a job where you work non-traditional hours. If you had full-time custody of your daughter, you'd find a different way of managing. The American Girl dolls are a distraction. Just tell your daughter if she doesn't want to share with her step-sib, not to take those particular dolls to the other house. Instead, she can play with them at your home. There was no real reason you had to pick up your daughter. It would be a different story if someone was contagious or needed to go to the hospital. And clearly, the partner wasn't too sick to try to start crap with you the next day. Also, your income and what you spend on your daughter is nobody's business. Agreed. If your ex doesn't want you spilling tea to his parents, he shouldn't encourage your continued contact with his parents. If he leaves that door open, he has to accept that they will be privy to your perspective and his. This doesn't give you carte blanche to stir up trouble, but it's silly not to expect that a deep cut like part-time mother wouldn't get around. I, female 50s, have a sister, 40s, who sees herself as a my family lives in a camper van Instagram influencer. In 2020, she, her husband, and their 4 kids moved into a camper. They homeschool the kids, travel all over the US, etc. They come to visit for holidays, but we don't see them besides that. My husband and I are the opposite. We have 4 kids and live in a big, beautiful house in Colorado. So the issue is, my sister and her family came over for Thanksgiving and spent the night. My sister's oldest, male and female young teen twins, slept in my daughter's and son's rooms with them. In the morning, my niece and my sister got into a big argument, with my niece being incredibly angry at her mother for making her live in a camper when she could have so much more space and not have to share so much with her brothers. They all sleep in the same area and be able to have more clothes, friends, and extracurricular activities. I asked what was going on, and according to my sister, this had been an argument for a while. Money's not an issue. They had a house before and sold it for a massive amount of money. My sister has a trust fund and a job, and she likes living in a camper. After a brief conversation with my husband and my children, we offered, in private to my sister, to take my eldest niece in. We have extra guest rooms and could make one a bedroom for her. There are great schools in our area. We'd pay for everything for her, etc. She instantly said no, that she knew what was best for her daughter. She would miss her siblings. We didn't mention it again. Well, my youngest, young female teen, told her cousin about the offer. She was very happy but angry that her mother hadn't brought it up. She told my sister that if she made her come live in the camper again, she'd never do anything her mother wanted because it was unfair that her mother wasn't letting her have a true childhood. While I don't condone tantrums like that, I understood where she was coming from and helped convince my sister. When her twin brother found out, he wanted to stay too. My sister asked him what she was supposed to do without them, how she was going to care for the younger siblings without them, talking about missing out on family trips, etc. But my nephew didn't change his mind. We agreed to a trial period of 3 weeks, which ended 3 days ago. My sister came back, fully expecting her kids to want to come back with her, but they flat out refused to even get in the camper. My sister is very angry. She said that I was supposed to make them want to live with her, and that I was a horrible sister for treating her like this. She said I should kick them out, but I said no. She said that I'm a massive idiot and told her kids not to expect her to come back for them when they get tired of maximalism. Now her kids are sad, but they still don't want to leave, and I'm worried I've ruined my relationship with my sister. Am I the idiot? Edit. We have temporary guardianship signed by my sister. Her husband came over after they left, and we filled out the power of attorney forms, got the things we needed to put them in school, etc., and he took them back and had her sign them so that we should be all clear. My brother is an attorney, and he helped us out with the forms as well. Not the idiot. Your sister sounds selfish and like a bit of a lunatic. Camper life is glorified homelessness. She wants to live this way, but her children do not. They need a stable home, friends, family, and education. Living like nomads is not something most kids can do. End of the day, you're helping your niece and nephew out. You're not beholden to your sister or supposed to do anything but help the kids. Yeah, you've strained your relationship with her, but that relationship is not worth the health of these kids. Glorified is the key word. I get it, it's a nice camper, but traveling all over the place and not having roots is basically one of the effects of homelessness. I'll go a step further and say it's a low-key form of child abuse. The kids are being denied structure and opportunities like friends, sports, and extracurricular activities. Your sister is a selfish person. She's putting her wants and needs over her children, which is something a good parent never does. My sister asked him what she was supposed to do without them, how she was going to care for the younger siblings without them. This sounds like parentification, which is not a good thing for the twins. They should be living a teenager's life and only helping to look after younger sibs and kids if they're paid babysitters, and only for a few hours a week. The kids were miserable living in a camper. Of course they wanted to escape, given half a chance. I, female 22, live in a 2-bedroom apartment with my roommate, Helen, 22. Helen's birthday was days ago, and she had plans to invite her parents to celebrate in the apartment. She asked if I could leave the apartment to give her and her parents privacy. I said, no. We started arguing. She asked that I respect her wishes on her birthday, but I cut the argument and left for school. I saw that her parents had arrived with 3 big bags on my way out of the door. I come back at 11, and when I try to enter my room, Helen stops me immediately. I ask, "What's up?" And she says to me, "You can't go in there, my room. My parents are sleeping," then points towards the couch and says to me, "Where you can spend the night on the couch. I got your pillow and blanket." I pick my jaw off the floor, figuratively, and ask if she was serious, then tell her I'm sleeping in my room and her parents need to get the heck out. I started banging on the door while Helen yells that I was being awfully rude and disrespectful to her parents and her birthday. Her mom comes out in a robe asking what was going on, then proceeds to ask if I had been drinking and whether I was legally allowed to drink at this age. Go figure. I tell her to get herself and her husband out of my room. Helen tells me her parents traveled a distance to be with her and they deserve to rest. I tell her maybe they should go get a freaking hotel. Her mom then goes on about how rude I was. Then when the argument escalates, she tries to call the landlord, telling them that they're trying to sleep and their daughter's inebriated roommate was causing a scene. She goes on to threaten to call the police for disturbance. Helen's dad comes out demanding quiet. Moments later, the landlord stops by to see what's up, and Helen and her mom start complaining about me, throwing a rage fit and scaring them, claiming I had been drinking and saying I'm mentally unstable and suggesting I get kicked out. The landlord then tells Helen and her mom that I'm a legal tenant and that the room is mine, and that they had to get out of the whole apartment after what they did. Helen and her parents start arguing with the landlord, then he threatens them with the cops. They start getting ready to leave as Helen is crying, begging me to let her parents stay. Long story short, they got kicked out at 12 a.m. Helen unloaded on me, saying I ruined her birthday and made her parents leave in the middle of the night and be lost in a city they don't know well. I also ruined her plans since they wanted to stay for the weekend. I entered my room and shut the door. Helen stopped talking to me after that and had friends from college shame me for making such a scene. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Oh my goodness. I don't understand why they couldn't just sleep in her room. They're her parents. She should be the one on the couch. Helen and her parents are bonkers. Girl, you gotta move out ASAP or get a new roommate. You or Helen have to go. It's your room. Why couldn't her parents get a hotel room? Just because it's her birthday doesn't make her entitled to your space that you pay rent for. Don't argue with her or her parents if she ever tries to pull this stunt again. Call the cops immediately. Your room is your personal space, which you paid for, and I'm so glad your landlord reinforced that and didn't put up with Helen's massive entitlement. Any friends you lost from this either got a massively biased version of the story, were never your friends to begin with, or both. Take the opportunity to thank the universe for taking out the trash and find new friends who will appreciate and respect you as a human being. As for now, ask the landlord if you can put a lock on your bedroom door if there isn't one already. Given the response to Helen's parents' behavior, there might be something they're willing to do, and you clearly can't trust Helen to respect your space. My dad likes to play jokes on people, and if you complain, he says you're a baby and have no sense of humor. My dad also hates to read instructions. Last Christmas, I got him a set of computer-controlled Christmas lights. They're really cool. You can control each individual LED, and you set patterns on them. You can make your tree twinkle or look like a candy cane. It's a neat system. I installed the app for the lights on my dad's phone and showed him how to use them. One other thing you can do is make it look like one of the lights is broken. All of the other lights work perfectly, but you can pick one and make it look like it's shorting out. It flickers, goes out, and comes back on, randomly, and you can cycle through all the lights. It is driving my dad crazy. He's unstrung them from the tree 3 times now. First, he lays them out and tries to see which light it is, but when he unplugs them, they revert to a default system and cycle through the colors. My mom noticed that the lights only bugger up when I'm around, so she asked me what I was doing. I admitted the truth. She laughed and asked me to show her how to do it so my dad didn't figure out I was messing with him. My husband thinks that I'm being petty and kind of a jerk to my dad, but as a victim of my father's jokes for over 5 years now, he also doesn't want me to stop. I feel a little bad about it, but also justified after a life putting up with him joking about my thin skin. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and you're also a genius. I thought you were busted when your mom discovered what you were doing. I love that she joined in. She's the real hero here. If your dad can dish it out, he can take it. Please tell your mom she's awesome. Pranks are the worst, but as a prankster, I'd say he deserves it. Yep, normally I'd say it's a bit unkind, but a dad who constantly plays jokes, and if you don't laugh, you can't take a joke, he has this coming. Update when he figures it out. Will he have a good sense of humor about it? Or will he have a total temper tantrum? Make sure to have that "don't be a baby" ready and waiting too. LOL.